Welcome back to the third video in a four-part series on the component of lesson preparation. In the last video, we focused on Feature 4, Supplementary Materials. Today, we will be focusing on Feature 5, Adapting Content to All Levels of English Proficiency. In order to do this, we will be highlighting the use of can-do descriptors. Once again, I'll be utilizing my 5E lesson plan to highlight where I've used can-do descriptors to adapt content to all levels of English proficiency. Can-do descriptors highlight what language learners can do at various stages of language development as they engage in learning in your classroom. I've used this can-do student chart to highlight different ways I can accommodate listening, speaking, reading, and writing activities in my classroom for all language levels. In order to find students' ILP information, log into PowerSchool and select Alerts for each class period. This new page will allow you to see all students with ILPs in one class period. Select the ILP button to see more information on each student. If you click on the button, you can get a quick glance of the student's English language level, and by selecting ILP files, a more detailed report. Each student's ILP will give you greater insight into where to start with your can-do statements. Notice the difference in this student's listening, speaking, reading, and writing scores. Now that we know students' language proficiency in reading, writing, listening, and speaking, we're going to zoom into the explain portion of my lesson to see how I adapted content to all levels of English proficiency using can-do descriptors. These are the can-do statements for ELL students in grades 9 through 12. I've highlighted the accommodations I've made throughout my lesson, but for the explain portion of the station work, we're going to focus on the reading and writing standards for levels 1 through 3. Students will be learning about the differences between plant and animal cells in one of 6 different groups. I've intentionally grouped students based off of reading comprehension level and EL level. Although my students in group 1 and 2 who are at or above grade level will be using textbook content like what you see here, I will need to make accommodations for the rest of the groups. The simplest way to accommodate for students is to reduce the quantity of text, allowing students to focus their efforts on learning the most essential content. Instead of providing the textbook or linked article, I will provide a modified digital PDF I made with the PDF Viewer app, or by using a photocopy of the textbook that has the extraneous text removed for groups 3 and 4. My last 2 groups contain my EL Level 1 and 2 students and my most struggling readers. Here, I will make material more accessible by focusing on the can-do descriptors highlighted here. Notice the focus on matching words and sentences to pictures and labeling pictures or making lists. At this point in my lesson planning, I go to Google and search for plant versus animal cells. The labeled images and simplified content will allow students to focus on learning the content and applying it to the next activity, as opposed to having to extract the information from a complicated textbook. In this video, we learned a few ways of how to adapt content to all levels of English proficiency by using can-do descriptors. In our fourth and final video, we'll be looking for meaningful activities that provide opportunities for reading, writing, listening, and speaking. For more SIOP resources in your Google Chrome browser, select the megaphone in the upper right-hand corner. From there, in the drop-down, select ECS-PD. Next, select Professional Development from the upper right-hand corner drop-down menu. Select Teaching Practices, and then SIOP. Last but not least, choose Lesson Preparation, which will guide you to the district website of resources.